Hey guys, how's it going? Nash Warfield here with another episode of Significantly Square Leadership. And today I have the pleasure to be with Mr. David Moore. And David is Executive Director of AAH of Bergen County. That stands for Alliance Against Homelessness.
Correct.
Right? Awesome. Here in Bergen County, in the lovely town of Washington, New Jersey, way up North Jersey. So, David, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me on.
Really appreciate it. So, David, tell me a little about your background and kind of how did you you make your path here to AAH Bergen County?
Well, it's kind of an interesting story. I never really looked at it the way I have in the last few years. Mm-hmm. My parents actually ran a homeless mission when I was born.
Okay.
And it was for what they called at the time hobos, men that just kind of were vagrants and moved around a lot.
Sure.
And coming forward into my adult life, as I began working, my goal was to become a lawyer.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's funny. That was actually my goal, too, funny enough. That's what I wanted to do, yeah.
And I loved law. I
Right.
loved the concept of it and what it meant.
Mm-hmm.
But as I began taking classes and I learned more about the way the mechanics of the legal system worked, I realized that I would never be comfortable in those confines.
Right.
So I decided that, I'd branch out. Loved literature. I began studying English literature, 17th century.
Okay.
Just fascinated with the way the minds of the writers wrote back in that day.
Mm-hmm.
And then my first job, I worked with people with head injury.
Okay.
Traumatic brain injury.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. I did that for several years while I was going to school.
Mm-hmm. And where'd you go to school?
I went to school at Pace University.
Okay.
And then I wound up transferring to Florida Atlantic University.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
And loved it down there. I was just thrilled. I was there for about 5 years.
Right. As we prepare for a New Jersey winter here,
Yes. But then I wound up getting another job working with people with severe mental illness who had been just discharged from either jail or state hospitals.
Okay.
And these individuals, although were being medically treated and psychiatrically treated, still were very symptomatic.
Mm-hmm.
And they were actively hallucinating. They, had severe anxiety, depression, and even though this was like the worst of the worst, individuals who really struggled with maintaining an equilibrium psychiatrically.
Okay.
I did that for several years.
Mm-hmm.
Came back up north after I finished my degree, and kind of stayed on the path. Wound up coming here. I got a master's in administration, and so it's weird. I have no degree in mental health.
Right.
But most of my time has been working in that field.
Right. And it all came full circle, certainly.
Right.
With what with what you saw growing up. Wow, that's really interesting.
I mean, I've been here now 8.5 years.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
And where'd you grow up?
I grew up in New York, upstate New York.
Upstate New York.
Orange
Okay.
County.
Orange County. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Excellent.
Yeah.
Wow. Very cool. So tell me a little bit more about AH and what what do you guys do here? Like, what are the main services you provide? What's the mission? How do you guys help the homeless mainly?
Well, our mission really is to provide comfortable, affordable housing for people who are homeless and have a disability. And we broadened the scope of our mission in the last 3 years because originally it was just people with mental illness.
Okay.
But in expanding some of our services to case management, it does include individuals who have substance abuse issues, people who have traumatic brain injury, and as well as people with mild developmental disabilities.
Okay.
Predominantly, we deal with mental health, but we do have a little bit kind of on the perimeter who have other disabilities. And, homelessness being such a prevalent concern in our country,
Sure.
It's really been kind of eye-opening, I think, even for me working in the field, to see the depth of need.
Right.
And it's getting worse. It's not going to get better.
Sure.
The need for individuals who have disabilities, that's just the most vulnerable. But then you have a lot of individuals who are becoming homeless who don't necessarily have a disability.
Right.
So it's it's pretty earth-shattering when you think about it.
Sure.
That, you look at your own life and you say, I have a nice place to live.
Just take it for granted. Yeah.
You don't really think about all these other people that struggle every single day.
Sure.
One of my interns was telling me today that she traveling to school every week. She sees the same people on this one route that she takes, and she sees all these individuals. She's beginning to recognize them, and I thought, how horrible that we have somebody here who's beginning to recognize an individual by seeing them every day.
Right.
That's that means something.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We provide the housing, but we also provide support.
Okay.
And a lot of the support is geared towards making people as self-sufficient as possible. And even though we're permanent housing, people can live with us forever.
Right.
We always hope that they'll get to the point where they can move on beyond the housing we provide and be able to be self-sufficient and be able to provide for themselves.
Yeah.
And we do see that, and it's great. That makes us so happy because not only are they strong enough to be on their own, but they're also becoming a productive member of society again.
Right.
They're also contributing in the way that a lot of us are.
Yeah.
So it's nice, it feels good to see the progress and to know that we had some small hand in helping them achieve that personal goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you mainly work with individuals? Do you see families at all that you work with?
We have families in our case management program.
Okay.
In fact, we've had some really beautiful success stories with that. We had a woman who had lost her children. She had an addiction, and she
social services. You mean?
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Her children were taken from her, and
okay.
She was dealing with her addictions, and she also has a mental illness. And we were able, after getting her housed and getting her into treatment, we were able to see her get reunited with her 3 kids.
Wow.
She's not, everything isn't perfect.
Yeah.
But we're able to see, a family reunited.
Right.
And we do see a lot of that.
Yeah.
Where people are beginning to kind of experience like a stability in their life. They're getting not only the housing but also the help that they need to kind of bring them back to a place where they can interact in a positive way with their families.
Sure.
A lot of people through addictions, they lose that contact with brothers and sisters and parents and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so now with the different supports that we connect them with or that we provide, we're seeing families reunited, which is an awesome thing.
Yeah, no, that's got to be tremendously rewarding.
That's really wonderful.
Definitely. Let me ask this. So obviously this is Bergen County, New Jersey. Are there certain cities in Bergen that you say where you have more people that you help? I mean, what are the main kind of areas in Bergen County where you tend to focus on?
Our houses are scattered.
Okay.
We go as far north as Hillsdale.
Okay.
And I think our southernmost house is in Pagoda.
Okay.
However, the apartments that people live in for the case management services are really scattered. There is a kind of a high density in like the Lodi, Garfield, Hackensack areas, but a lot of that has to do with public transportation.
Sure.
And accessibility to maybe employment or other services, mental health, treatment centers, things like that.
Yeah.
So even though it'd be nicer if there was a bigger option, because of some of the constraints of public services and transportation, we have to kind of guide people to areas that it's realistic for them.
Definitely. Okay, very good. Yeah, so obviously, clearly, making a difference in the lives of so many, and you get to see that impact. So obviously, the whole piece is about being significantly square, right? So that living that life of significance. So David, what does that mean to you to live a life of significance? Obviously, so much of your life has been dedicated to, making a difference. Why is that important to you to really make a difference in the world?
Well, I guess for me, it comes partly from my faith. I have a very strong Christian background, and I believe that the principles that I've been taught are important, that you need to reach out to other people. You need to make a difference in other people's lives.
Right.
I have been fortunate. I've been successful. I've been blessed with really good friends, a lot of opportunities that a lot of people don't have.
Sure.
And, if I don't try to make the world a little better for somebody else, then what is the point of my success? My happiness can't be based just solely on myself.
Right. That's right. That's right.
And it doesn't matter if it's a friend or if it's a stranger. Living a life of significance is really being willing to put yourself out there and really giving more than you're getting back.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's easy to say, well, if I do this, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just doing it because you know it's the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
that to me is the most rewarding.
Yeah,
You know?
definitely. You know, one of my favorite quotes is where I kind of live my life by Jackie Robinson. You know, where he says, you know, life matters little except in the impact it makes in others' lives. You know,
Right.
and that's really what we're here for. You know,
Right.
it's to serve others and to make a difference in other people's lives. So
Absolutely.
that's why you know I'm so passionate about this. You know, this channel. You know, and obviously highlighting people like you that are really you know focused on doing that. So
I appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. So obviously that leads to the piece of being a square, right? And obviously, you know, standing out, making a difference. So a square has four sides.
Yes.
So what I always like to ask leaders and people who are in leadership positions, you know, as executive director, and you say you have a staff of 8 and you know 4 interns, that's you know 12. But you know, what would you say are your 4 most important qualities, you know, as a leader? Like what makes an effective leader?
Well, I think one principle that I try to go by all the time is to be real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I try to be honest and direct with my staff. Even though I'm the boss, it doesn't mean I'm perfect.
Sure.
Doesn't mean I know everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so having kind of the concept is that I'm part of the team.
Right.
You know, even though I'm guiding the agency, everybody has as much impact as I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's important that the staff knows that.
Right.
The next thing is I have an open door policy.
Mm-hmm.
I want the staff to know they can talk to me anytime.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because, again, it's part of the teamwork.
Right.
You know. Another principle, I think, is that you have to look at the long term. You have to look beyond, you know, what's happening today. You have to consider that decisions you're making now are going to affect 5 years or 10 years down the road.
Okay. Yeah.
It could be something simple as what kind of quality products you're putting into the homes, to something as, you know, preparing for, you know, the upcoming leaders that are coming, you know, that are maturing under your tutelage.
Yep.
You know,
Yep. Grooming those behind
you have to, you know, you have to consider that, and I think also in an organization like this, I think making sure that your staff know they're appreciated and encouraging their professional and personal growth. As much as we can afford to, I like to send staff out to trainings. Some of the women have gone to seminars for women, like women leaders, like in New York City.
Yeah.
And I love doing that because I think it gives them an opportunity to see the bigger picture, and maybe beyond just this agency.
Sure.
Obviously, people are going to stay here for the rest of their lives.
Right, yeah.
And I want them to have that personal growth where they can be the best they can be, because ultimately it makes society better.
That's right. Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
It's not just my agency; it's all of the agencies.
Yeah, definitely. Fantastic. Wow. Sounds great. Well, clearly, you know, again, you're doing a lot here to truly make an impact, and just, you know, just thank you for, you know, for who you are and the spirit that you have, and for what you do, because it really does make a tremendous difference. So obviously, you know, a big question is how do you guys get your funding, and how can people, you know, donate and help AH?
Our funding right now, we get a lot of it through HUD.
Okay.
A lot of it's federal funding. Of course, the federal funding doesn't, you know, meet all of our needs.
Sure.
Or our dreams.
right. If only. Right.
You know, people can go to our website and they can donate. It's through PayPal, you know, so they can do it that way. They can
and that website is?
It's www.aahbergen.org.
Okay, aahbergen.org.
Right.
Definitely get there and donate. Fantastic.
And then we have events. You know, we schedule different fundraisers throughout the year. A lot of them are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we want people to come to our events and walk away knowing not only did they make a difference financially, but they had a great time with really quality people.
Yeah. Awesome.
So.
Sounds great. Well, David, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
you
Nash.
for living a life of significance. Thank you for being a square. So, guys, encourage you to be a square. Go out, make a difference. Support AAH or wherever in your local community that's doing work to help homeless. Obviously, it's a major issue, you know, here in America, and we want to do all that we can to make our dent in the world. So, David, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Nash.
God bless. Take care, guys. See you next time. Significantly Square Leadership.